Shalom, shalom. Welcome to another episode of Rocker Family Homestead. You know, man, in today's video, man, I want to talk about developing your homesteading passive income strategy. Let's talk about it. All praise to the Most High Yah Shalom. Thank you for tuning in to another righteous Ruach, spirit-filled episode of the Rockers Family Homestead. You know, man, living in America is expensive. The cost of living has gone up, and Americans are struggling financially across the board. You know, they're pretty much doing away with what is known as the middle class. So where do you fit into the equation? You know, like many people, man, you've embarked on this journey of homesteading. And I'll be the first one to tell you that homesteading is not cheap. Homesteading requires money. You know, being self-sufficient requires money. But the key takeaway I want you to take from that statement is, even though homesteading is expensive, is there's so many benefits to spending your money, you know, on homesteading than there is in living in, you know, congested America in these suburban neighborhoods where they've got restrictions and HOAs where you can't do half the stuff or a portion of the stuff you can do on a homestead. So I just want to talk to you about your passive income strategy, because that's going to make or break your homestead. Right now, man, I'm on our dog boarding and daycare facility, and this is one way we generate passive income for our homestead. Because when you think about, if you've got a lot of, like, if you're raising cows, if you're raising sheep, if you're raising goats, if you're raising chickens, you're raising all kind of stuff, man, when you're going to buy feed and when you're going to do all of this stuff, man, you're talking about some serious money. But, man, you can eat up a lot of that. Man, you can consume a lot of that by having a great passive income strategy. Not saying you got to start a dog boarding and daycare business, but this is ours. You know, and on a homestead, man, there's a lot of different ways to generate income. You know, man, I want you to think about it, because a term that has been thrown around is passive income. And really, people are looking at it. Really, people are looking at this, using this word, but not really talking about, you know, passive income requires some effort. You know, it requires a system. And, you know, homesteading income, you know, passive or not, is going to require a system. It's going to require some work. It's going to require you laboring with these. Like, you've got people that homestead and, man, they raise meat chickens. What they do is they raise meat birds. For those that don't know, man, you can order you some meat birds. And if you got a chicken coop or a chicken pen, within 8 weeks, those things from chicks to ready to butcher, bigger than the chickens you'll get in the store. You're going to get a bigger chicken than you will in the store. So you got some people, man, that's their income for their homestead. You know, they're raising 200-300 chickens at a time, 400 chickens at a time. And then they're butchering them on a said rotation. They pretty much announce on their social media, hey, we've got fresh chicken, you know, come get it. And then they're charging a premium for it because it's not shot up with these steroids, shot up with retatrutide and all this other stuff. You know, you've got people raising eggs for egg layers. There's a lot of different things. You got people that are selling goat meat and lamb meat to the kosher community, to the Jewish community, you know, to the nation. Man, there's a lot of different ways you can generate income on a homestead, especially if you've got heavy machinery. You know, you don't want your heavy machinery sitting idle when you're not using it. So what better way to generate some income? You know, put an ad out saying, hey, I got a skid steer. Anybody need some dirt work? You know, I charge this much per hour. But what really gets a lot of people into financial debt when it comes to homesteading is, man, you like the concept of having these animals and having all of this space, but you don't think about the upkeep, the maintenance, the food requirements, the feed requirements. And then lastly, like if you're raising cattle, you're raising all these animals and you're not butchering and processing any, that's gonna be expensive to keep on, because it's like having having your family might be 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, but put one cow on that and your family just went to 8. Your family just went to 9 or 10. And what happens, a lot of homesteaders, man, they're not able to get anything off the ground because they're pretty much running a pet daycare. They're pretty much just having a petting zoo for family, but they ain't really making no income off of it. Your family likes to come over, pet the animals and things like that. There's another one. I just gave you another one. Man, if you got goats and sheep and things like that, man, make a petting zoo. Make a petting zoo for children so the schools can doggone bring the children there, and that you can walk them around and give them a little brief, and they can eat some sandwiches and drink some juicy juice and eat some chips, and then you're getting your check and going on about your business. But a lot of people get into a lot of debt when it comes to homesteading because they don't develop a system. They don't develop a strategy to say, you know what, man, how am I going to generate some income for my homestead? Man, when you think about this, man, our dog boarding and daycare business, man, at our max capacity, man, if we got 50, 60 dogs, man, I'm going to be working probably about at most 3 to 4 hours in a day. And that cuts my workload completely down compared to working in the civilian sector. But there's so many benefits to homesteading. And, you know, if I lived where we lived before in South Carolina in an HOA neighborhood, you ain't about to build nothing like this and do nothing like that. They'll run you up out of there, try to have you in court, put liens all on your houses. It's not worth it. So if you want to be successful at homesteading, man, you got to have a financial strategy. What is your financial plan? What is your plan financially to see this thing through? And before I get out of here, man, I just want to say I appreciate all of your support from the beginning, my day ones for Rocker Family Homestead, all of the support. Man, consider subscribing to the channel, turn your notifications on. Also, hit that like button. Check out the links in the description for exclusive discount codes. Once again, man, this is Rocker Family Homestead, kicking that thing gun barrel straight.